Well, first of all, I just can't wait for the independent investigation that Newsom is calling for. I'm sure that is really going to get to the bottom of the issue here, and I'm sure he's going to be absolved of all blame. We're probably going to hear that this is all about global warming, which it is most certainly not. To be very fair, and I try to be very fair with Governor Newsom as much as I can be, even though my children refer to him as Governor Poosum ever since the COVID panic, I actually blame the mayor of Los Angeles more than I blame Governor Newsom, and I also blame the freak of no rain in December and record winds in January. That's why this particular fire happened. But let's be clear, as Governor Newsom said, he's been governor for 6 years. This is a one-party state. There's not even a legitimate news media in this state. He owns it. He breaks it. He owns it. And so when you have the results, as catastrophic as these results are, there needs to be some responsibility. I'm old enough to remember during Hurricane Katrina, which I think is a pretty good analogy to a ticking time bomb situation like the one we had here in Southern California. Somehow George W. Bush got blamed for Hurricane Katrina and New Orleans flooding, which was always inevitable. So using that standard, I don't think it's irrational to blame Governor Newsom since he's the guy at the top of this food chain.
Ian?
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate your time and having me part of the program tonight. And let me say that my heart goes out to all the people that are being impacted and everybody that's on the ground responding. I have friends that have lost their homes. I have a friend that I'm currently trying to find a place for in the event that he needs to evacuate his home, which is increasingly looking likely like that's going to happen. So from my family to yours, my heart goes out to you. I certainly understand where John is coming from, but I just don't understand how that's helping the situation. You have people that have lost everything, and all we're seeing is finger pointing, trying to blame whoever, the governor, the mayor, for being responsible for what is happening. But at the end of the day, you have the governor on the ground who's doing all that he can to try to get resources to people. You have first responders that are on the ground doing everything they can to fight these fires. You have National Guardsmen, 1,000 of them, which the governor called in to protect from looting. And I just don't understand the logic behind how this is helping people become whole again. This is a catastrophic event, and by making it political, it solves no problems. It doesn't help anybody, and I think we need to focus on getting whatever we can to the people that need it and the leaders that are on the ground in charge of handling this situation, the resources that they need to help these folks.
And John, to be very clear, you have been very critical publicly on X and elsewhere of Gavin Newsom. So go ahead and respond.
Yeah, well, this sounds like an excuse to me, Dan, this whole idea, which the mayor of Los Angeles has also used. We have to focus on the response as if we can't do two things at once. There can't be any sort of responsibility or accountability while we're also responding to these fires. And, as critical as I've been of Governor Newsom, I've also praised him for effectively becoming a Republican overnight when it comes to the issue of rebuilding and trying to get rid of some of these absolutely insane environmental restrictions. It'll be very interesting to see whether or not he holds to that. But basically, we're saying now that all of a sudden, the crazy environmental restrictions that have prevented building in the past in Southern California, we're going to get rid of those because we're in a situation where they're not politically tenable. Look, you lose the benefit of the doubt when you have a one-party state, when your philosophy is entirely based in progressive politics, in DEI, in virtue signaling, in environmental wackoism. When results come out like this, you must take some responsibility for that, and I wish Governor Newsom would do that. That would be real leadership instead of trying to pass the buck and delay any sort of accountability, which your guest seems to be all in favor of happening.
Ian, is the change in policies that Gavin Newsom is talking about a concession that his policies were wrong or outdated?
I think what the governor's doing is he's taking in information that's coming at him, and he's making whatever decisions he needs to make to try to, solve for the problems that are presenting themselves. I mean, the reality is here, guys, is that there's going to be a time where we're going to know the facts. We don't know the facts right now. We don't know everything that's happened. We have a lot of recency bias where everybody's repeating the last thing that they heard and accepting it as fact. But the reality is that we don't know. We don't know the facts, and we have to dispassionately and objectively analyze everything that happened. And if there's blame to go around, whether that's the governor or the LA mayor, they're going to face the criticism for that, and they're going to have to accept responsibility for that. But right now, the most important thing isn't to come on TV and point fingers or to go on X and spread misinformation. It's to help people that are suffering, and that's what I see the governor doing right now.
Thanks for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your screen, and don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.